Hello, Taurus Rising, and welcome to 2026. So, the universe has us, and I say us because I'm a fellow Taurus Rising. The universe has us working backwards in a way. So, over the last 8 years, you've been undergoing a very personal transformation with Uranus in your first house. And thankfully, in 2026, that external transformation is over. However, there's a new transformation that is taking place, and it's happening all on the inside with Saturn and Neptune entering Aries, which is your 12th house. So now that we focused on how we look, how we express ourselves, it's time to restructure our inner world. So if you want to know more about what 2026 has to offer for you, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So if you're new around here, my name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. And today we are talking about the yearly astro forecast for the sign of Taurus rising. Now, by way of logistics, I do all of my horoscopes the traditional way, which is by rising sign. It's not to say that you can't watch this if you are a Taurus sun. It's just that this particular breakdown is for Taurus rising. So figure out your rising sign and then watch the appropriate video. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first and foremost, let's get into the core transits that are happening this year, the core astrological events and how they will affect you as a Taurus rising. So first and foremost, I think one of the biggest astrological events is the fact that Saturn and Neptune are going to be taking up residence in Aries sort of permanently. We got a taste of this in 2025 as both Saturn and Neptune dipped into Aries a little bit and then retrograded back into Pisces. But in 2025 and going forward, Saturn will be in Aries for the next 2.5 years, and Neptune will be in Aries for the next 14. So get comfortable with this energy. And so, like I stated in the intro, we're kind of working backwards. Uranus in our first house really had us change our appearance, our outlook on life. It was really focused on self, but sort of the external portion of self. And now, with Saturn and Neptune going into our 12th house of Aries, now we are restructuring our inner world. So now we get a chance to restructure how we think, how we believe, and sort of how we function subconsciously. So, first with Saturn, Saturn really wants us to restructure our inner world. This is about having fortitude, and this is about creating a container that contains perhaps new beliefs, new ideologies, new programming, if you will. Okay. Now, this may sound a little daunting because it's like, okay, I've got to restructure my whole inner world. I've got to basically, it's about creating a new narrative for yourself from the inside out. But what I love about this pairing of Saturn and Neptune is that Neptune helps us with this structuring. So let me explain. Saturn is like, all right, I need you to get really strict. I need you to set boundaries. I need you to create this sort of tangible container for your beliefs, right? What do you believe now? Who are you at your core? What is your essence? Saturn in Aries sort of wants you to restructure this from the inside out. Now, what's important to understand is that while Saturn is building and structuring, Neptune is dissolving. So, when it comes to these new beliefs, these new ideologies that we are adopting, Neptune at the same time is helping us dissolve what no longer serves us. Neptune generally in Aries wants us to dream a new dream, to sort of have a new goal, a new fantasy, if you will, when it comes to our lives. And with Neptune in Aries in your 12th house, this is really about a new dream that's very personal, that's perhaps very private, that really entails new beliefs, new fantasies, new visualizations, even, right? So, it really behooves you beginning in 2026. And Neptune and Saturn are moving into Aries in January. That's when Neptune is moving in. And February, that's when Saturn is moving in. So all of this is happening very, right at the top of the year. Spend time in your mind, in your imagination, as the person you would like to be. This is how you're going to create this structure. You're already a different person on the outside. But Saturn and Neptune is like, all right, now we're crafting a new person from the inside out. So, my advice to you is all of the actions you take this year, because if you watch the general forecast, I talk about how 2026 is a year of action. All of the actions that you're taking need to be pursuant to the person you are becoming. This new ideology, this new fantasy of who you are, rather than who you currently are, and definitely rather than who you've been in the past. So it's really important to live up here and in your imagination this year and craft this new identity as you go along. All right. Next, we have Uranus entering Gemini, and this is going to be happening in April. This is super important because, like I said before, Uranus has spent the last 8 years in your sign of Taurus. And this has been radical changes, radical new ideologies, a new way of seeing the world, a new identity. Over the last 8 years, I'm pretty sure that you have been crafting this you version 2.0, right? And we're finally done with that. Now, this won't be taking place until April. However, with Uranus moving into Gemini, now we are about to have shakeups. We're about to have breakthroughs when it comes to money, material possessions, and worth. So I want you to really think about what I'm saying. And I'm going to put this in perspective right now. So we've worked on the outside with Uranus in Taurus. Beginning in 2026, Saturn and Neptune are having us work on the inside. And then Uranus in Gemini is going to help us with our self esteem. Now, the second house covers money, it covers your material possessions, but it's also the house of worth. And this is where your self esteem lives. And so think about how Uranus in Taurus was in terms of changing your physical appearance. That's sort of how your self esteem is going to be getting an upgrade over the next 8 years. So there are going to be challenges, surprises, and sudden shifts in situations that help bolster your self esteem. Uranus ultimately wants freedom. And being able to be yourself unapologetically is the name of the game with Uranus in Gemini for you, and how your self esteem can benefit from being your authentic self. So allow whatever is going to happen to happen. It's ultimately shaping up your self esteem. This is also great for money. Now, money could be a little precarious while Uranus is in Gemini. I'm not going to lie to you. This isn't, oh, everything is going to work out and everything is going to be great. It may be like feast and famine all in one or repeatedly. Buckle up, because when it comes to money, making money, income streams, amassing assets, there's going to be quick moves. You need to be flexible. You need to stay on your toes. There may be opportunities to make money in a radical sort of way, particularly as it relates to technology. So keep that in mind going forward. But you're going to have to move quickly. You're going to have to roll with the punches, and don't get too up when money's looking really good all of a sudden, and don't get too down when that bank account is looking negative, okay? Uranus is going to provide shakeups here. And again, the name of the game is freedom. So financial freedom is on the menu for the next 8 years with Uranus in Gemini. So keep that in mind. And then finally, come late spring, summer, Jupiter is going to be moving into Leo, okay? And this is happening in your fourth house of home and family. So Jupiter is the great expander, right? And so when it comes to Jupiter in Leo, home is truly where the heart is for you, generally speaking. Now, there's going to be an expansion of that heart, an expansion of the home. Jupiter spends typically about a year in each sign. So in the first half of 2026, Jupiter is still going to be in Cancer, in your third house, expanding your mind and your skills. But then come the second half of the year and into mid 2027, Jupiter is going to be in your fourth house. This could signify a move, a relocation, a bigger home, a bigger family. Now, the way that I mean bigger family, this could mean, new additions to the family, whether you are birthing them or they're just coming in. This could mean, you know, uh, siblings or cousins or people you never met before coming out of the woodworks and now they're part of the family. Family is growing. There's also wisdom gained through your lineage. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom. So to sort of understand yourself and understand where you're going, especially as you're undergoing all of these personal changes with that 12th house energy, that first house energy, and that second house energy that's so prominent this year for you. Understanding your lineage, where you come from, and the wisdom from that can really help to bolster all of this personal change that you are going through. Okay. But regardless, with Jupiter going into your fourth house of Leo, be courageous, be lighthearted. Open your heart, especially when it comes to family or even the idea of family. Family doesn't always mean the people that we have a bloodline, that we share a bloodline with. Maybe Jupiter wants to expand your idea of family, expand your idea of home, call a new place home. This is going to be a very exciting transit. So, on the home front and even your private life, because the fourth house represents your private life as well, there's going to be an expansion and growth there, which should be really exciting. So now let's get into the eclipses for 2026. And I feel like the eclipse trajectory, the eclipse story is always a vital part of any horoscope because eclipses are when the universe sort of takes over, we relinquish control, and the universe can kind of move things around as necessary for us. So this year is sort of a transition year because we are switching signs when it comes to the eclipses. Now, the eclipses are determined by the north and south node. That's the north and south node is where the eclipses happen. And so since the beginning of 2025, the north node was in Pisces, the south node was in Virgo. And beginning this year, the North Node is moving into Aquarius and the South Node is moving into Leo. So that axis of Aquarius and Leo is going to be highlighted or begin to be highlighted this year, while the axis of Virgo and Pisces is sort of wrapping up. So we have this 1 foot in, 1 foot out energy eclipse wise. So and if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. The first eclipse is happening on February 17th, and it's happening in Aquarius. Now, the axis of Aquarius and Leo for you is 10th house, which is your career house, your purpose house, your public image, and your public life house. And Leo, which is your fourth house, your home house, your private life. Okay. So things start off in a very public way with a solar eclipse in Aquarius on February 17th. And so this could signify the start of something new career-wise for you. The universe may be pushing you to do something new. And it could be in a very surprising sort of way because Aquarius is co-ruled by Uranus. Now, Uranus is going to be moving into your second house of money. So this is going to be a year that's going to have a sharp emphasis on money and career. Now, when I say sharp, that's because Uranus is going to be operating in these areas of life for you. So expect surprises, sudden shifts, and be flexible and adaptable when it comes to those things. But something new on the career front could really explode or happen suddenly at that solar eclipse in Aquarius on February 17th. Thereafter, the next eclipse is on March 3rd, and this is in Virgo. Okay. And so the South Node is still going to be there. We're going to be wrapping up that story. And for you, Virgo is your fifth house of romance, self expression, and children, right? So with that, there could be a romantic story that is sort of culminating, right? And being illuminated at that time. There could also be a situation with children or regarding children. There could also be a situation where a creative endeavor or anything that you've been doing that's been fun and that has been a vehicle for your self-expression is going to be wrapping up at that eclipse. So that is the spring eclipse season. Now, going into the fall, late summer, I should say, we have the solar eclipse in Leo, which is happening on August 12th, and this is happening in your fourth house of home. So in the spring, you have the ability or the opportunity to start something new publicly or career-wise. And then in the summer going into the fall, you have the opportunity to start something new at home or privately. So this may have to do with family. It may have to do with a home. This could be you starting a moving process, a home purchasing process, a renovation process. when it comes to who you call family and who your heart is open to when it comes to family. You could be letting new people in, or new people could be orbiting your reality, and now they're becoming a part of your family. Okay, so new things on the home and family front are going to be happening with that solar eclipse in Leo on August 12th. And then finally, the last eclipse for 2026 is happening in the sign of Pisces. This is happening August 28th. And this is wrapping up 11th house matters for you. And the 11th house covers friendship and goals. So now, for instance, this could be a goal that's finally coming to culmination, something you've been working on for the last 18 months since early 2025. This could be a spiritual sort of endeavor that is coming to a culmination. There could be some big crescendo. There could be some big sort of ending or culmination when it comes to a group that you are a part of, a friendship. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're ending the friendship. It could just mean that it's time to move on to the next chapter. Maybe you and your friend are starting something, or now this group that you're a part of is moving on to something else. Either way, those 11th house matters are a big crescendo. And what I love about this for you specifically is that the 11th house is also the house of gains. And so this could signify a gain, particularly something that you've been working hard on. It's typically gains gained from the 10th house. So career-wise, if you've been putting yourself out there, this lunar eclipse in Pisces at the end of August could signify a reward for all of your hard work. And I don't know who doesn't want, love, or need that, especially at this point in time. All right, Taurus. So the main point or points that I want to drive home for you for 2026 is that there is still a personal transformation happening, although now it's going to be on the inside. This is about restructuring your inner world, your subconscious, your beliefs, your ideologies, who you are at your core. It's about kind of crafting a new identity and then working from the inside out to bring it to fruition. There's also going to be some self-worth and self-esteem upgrades thanks to Uranus in Gemini. Career and money are definitely going to be emphasized this year. So be flexible, be adaptable, and be ready to make sudden moves. And then finally, there's going to be an emphasis on home and your private life, starting something new, and perhaps maybe calling some new people as family members, or new people family members. You know what I mean. New people are coming into the family this year. That could really signify an opening of your heart and more love to go all around. All right. Now, if you want to know more about 2026 as it pertains to you in particular, there's two ways that you could do that with me at this time. Number one, you can sign up for my 2026 year ahead reading. It's called The Next Chapter. We will go through 2026 from beginning to end and talk about how that affects you personally based on your natal chart. So if you're interested in that, the link to sign up will be in the description box below and link to the video as well. I only offer this reading up until February. So if you are interested, spots are limited, so I would sign up sooner rather than later. But maybe you don't want all of that detail. If you want something a little lighter and something that you can sort of reference on your own time, I have my 2026 rising sign maps. And so this is basically a digital product bundle that you can purchase that can give you all of the information that you need for 2026 and how to work with the energy. It's a video such as this that'll give you a little more detail, and a PDF guide that you can reference throughout the year with important dates, integration, information, and everything that you need to know for your rising sign. So if you're interested in that, it will also be linked to this video and linked in the description box below. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely wish you nothing but the absolute best for 2026 and beyond, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.